Hi, my name is Orrin Ware, and you're watching Tuerk Talk.
Hey everybody, my name is Yao. I am the marketing manager here at Tuerk House, and welcome to the Tuerk Talk. Now, this is everything recovery, and I have a very great guest in our midst today, a big man, one of the best men out here, a good friend of mine when I always bother. Everybody welcome Mr. Orrin Ware.
Hello, everyone.
Thanks for
coming. It's definitely a pleasure to be here.
Definitely. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. You know, today's topic is really a big topic, a topic that a lot of people have a lot of questions about. And it's about how somebody who has a loved one who is going through recovery, how to act, what to say, what to say, and etc. And I think today's going to really be a good one. And I can't wait to get started, you know. So let's actually get started right now, right?
Okay.
So the first question I have for you, sir, is what is recovery like for someone who is addicted?
So that's an amazing question. And the best answer is there's no one answer. Everyone will have their own individual journey. That could involve going to self-help groups. That could involve just completely stopping cold turkey. That could involve going to outpatient groups, etc. Some people may have a more difficult time and have to go to treatment several times before they completely stop using substances, while others may just stop after one treatment episode, or just by saying, you know what, today I'm completely stopping, and that's that. It's definitely not an easy journey for most people, and it takes a lot of hard work and diligence.
Awesome. So what you're saying is that when somebody, say, comes into Tuerk House, them actually completing the process, they could actually fall back into it. Like for some people, they can actually, you know, fall back to addiction, or is it kind of like you get help and then boom, that's it? Or is it different cases, or how does it work?
So yes, that's a great point. So there is the risk of relapse after completing treatment. That tends to always be in the backdrop of recovery. And so if someone does relapse, it's really not a failure because they can re-enter treatment again. And what we found in some of the research is that with time, even after maybe 2-3 treatment episodes, then they find that they're able to maintain a life of abstinence and or completely reducing the amount of the substance that they're using. And again, it's individual dependent. It can go from person to person.
It's a lifelong journey, right?
Absolutely.
So just don't think maybe I brought him to Tuerk, I brought him here, it's supposed to just handle it. I think people need to understand that it's something that, again, is a lifelong journey. I wanted you to clarify that so people understand what somebody who's addicted goes through.
And it's a chronic, lifelong medical condition. That's what all the research and data shows, that it's just a lifelong process. And recovery itself, like even if someone stops using a substance in, let's say, 2017, there may be those urges and potential triggers to relapse that still exist 5-10 years later. But it's just being able to identify what these triggers are and trying to remove oneself from them or limit the amount of exposure. It's definitely a lifelong journey, and just stay strong. And if there are relapses that do occur, just have a plan. What will I do next? If I do relapse, will I re-enter treatment? Who can I talk to about this? What other goals can I make to make sure that I can maintain this track of recovery?
I like that. You said something like that, stay strong and have a plan. I think that's really important, that have strength, but also have a plan so that you know what to do. I really like that. Thanks for answering that question. Now, but my second question is, what are some things that one can do when supporting their loved one in recovery?
I think one of the primary things is listening. Mm-hmm. And again, everyone's path is different. Okay. So listening to what that individual person is saying, what are some type of things that they may request from you that can help them? So for example, if they are struggling with alcoholic beverages and seeing glass bottles around the house is a trigger to want to use again, maybe removing the glass soda bottles, removing them from the household, anything that you can do to make sure that it fits them specifically. And then sometimes just listening about why they may have been using. What we found with a lot of clients is that there may be a history of trauma, or there may be something else. And sometimes listening and getting to the deeper issues is something that helps out so much. Understanding that your family member or loved one is not going through an easy journey. It will require your love and help. And then also making sure that you take care of yourself. That's a major thing. Because caring for others can sometimes affect us individually. So making sure that you care for yourself as well through the process.
I like that. Listen. I think that's something that we don't always do, but I think that's a very good tip. So guys, listen. Make sure you listen. If you're somebody that has a family member that's going through recovery, make sure that you're not just a family member, but you're a friend and a listener. I like that. Thank you so much, man. My third question is, what should be said or done when supporting someone in recovery? And the reason I like this question is because sometimes I think because it's a bit overbearing, people can say the wrong things. People can think they're saying the right things, but then at the same time, it could be a trigger to make the person upset or even probably fall back in, right? So I think this is a very key question. What shouldn't be done? What shouldn't be said? What should be said while somebody's going through recovery? Can you talk on that?
See, fantastic question. And that actually ties into the previous question because, again, it goes back to listening to what that person is saying. How can you support them? What are some things that you could say or do to help them through this process? And then during that, they can also guide you towards what things may be may be specific triggers to relapse or potential threats to sobriety or risk reduction. So it's just making sure that you kind of listen to them and what it is that they need.
True. So when it comes to encouraging somebody that's going through recovery, like, hey, you're doing a good job, and hey, man, I know how you feel. Maybe you don't, but you just feel like these are the things you want to say because you love somebody, you want to see them get better. Do people have to be careful about certain like prep words because maybe that can annoy the person, or should people just love out and just say whatever they feel like they need to say out of love? Or are there things that you just know? Like it's like somebody passes away, right? And say you've never lost a family member, and then you say out of love, man, I'm so sorry. I know how you feel. You know, it usually gets people upset. So are there certain things people need to be careful of just showing their love and support? What should be done? You know, like should people be careful of certain words, certain things? You know, are the triggers that you've noticed that's research proven that maybe if you say this it won't work, if you say that it does work, or is it again just listening?
Well, expressing gratitude and kind of acknowledging the wonderful changes that a person has made and how that's helping your relationship with them, whatever that may be, whether it's sibling, parent, significant other, you name it. All those things have been shown to be very helpful because it's just this positive reinforcement, okay? It's like, wow, someone's noticing that I'm making these wonderful changes. Someone's giving me all these great words. Someone's saying all these nice things to me, you know? And these are the kind of things that can kind of help people or provide encouragement to continue along that journey. And encouragement is the word that I'm shooting for here. Okay. Encouragement. The more you can kind of encourage someone to stay on that path and continue to strive towards their goals, in this point, recovery, it's very helpful.
Awesome. Think I like that. My fourth question is this: how do you approach a loved one who is addicted but refuses to believe they are or refuses to get help? Now, let me give you some background on why I love this question. It's because when we went to a health expo, and a lot of people came to our table to try to get our pamphlets to give to loved ones. And the main thing they kept saying was that I'm trying to get my dad in here, I'm trying to get my brother in here, I'm trying to get my mom in here, but they feel like they don't have a problem. And I'm screaming and I'm jumping and I'm trying my best, and I feel like they're hopeless, like they don't have anything left to do. So I think this question is for them. What do they do when somebody they love with all their heart is acting like they do not have a problem?
Yeah, see, this is a very complicated question. Because at the end of the day, treatment is voluntary. So it has to be some type of, even if it's just a small instance of wanting to enter treatment, that has to ultimately come from the person that will enter treatment. While as family members and friends, loved ones, significant others, we can do small things and in some circumstances, large things. So some of these examples include just providing information. Here are these treatment services. I know you say that you do not have an issue, but these are certain things that could help out in the event that you feel as though you do have an issue with this substance or these substances. There's also been the well-known model of interventions where family members and friends and loved ones kind of bring the person in there. They're very confrontational where they say, okay, these are the issues. These are things that you've done, and we want you to seek treatment and help. And what we find is that peer recovery specialists, peer recovery coaches, they're very key in this role because they say, you know what, this is something that I may have encountered in the past, and because of my experiences, I'm saying that you may want to consider seeking help. So sometimes what we found is that family members, friends, loved ones may seek the help of peer recovery specialists for this as well. There's also social workers, counselors, psychologists, psychiatrists, and then, so sometimes providing information. There's been situations just in my clinical work that I've done where family members have brought individuals to treatment where initially they didn't want treatment. And then as they started listening more and more to other clients and even staff members, they said, okay, you know what? Maybe I didn't realize I was having this much of an impact on my family. Now, while all these activities may be done, and you may be doing all these things, saying all these things to try to get your family member, loved one, friend, etc. into treatment, even if at that very moment they're not accepting that they have an issue with this substance and that they should enter treatment, some of these little small seeds can kind of grow later on, and they'll say, you know what, I do need to enter treatment, or I do have an issue. So it's just kind of these small little nudges that could guide someone towards entering treatment and accepting that they may have an issue with substances. And again, treatment is voluntary, so it all must come from themselves, truthfully.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Now, my last question to you, I'm kind of sad it's the last one, but the last question I have here is this: how to get over the shame and hurt knowing a loved one is battling with addiction or is in recovery. And I'll add something to that. Is a lot of people kind of feel some way when they know my brother is addicted, or he's going through recovery, and maybe he lapses, and people kind of shy away from it and all that. How can someone get over that shame? How can you get over that hurt? Knowing that mom may have tried to raise her son or daughter in the right way, and then this is kind of what happened. How do they get over it?
A lot of this shame is oftentimes caused by social pressures. So representations in the media, interactions with other family members, friends, or even neighbors in the community. That's a really great question. I feel like I'm trying to come up with an answer and think on the spot. But it's not an easy road. But one thing that they have to consider is that it is a chronic medical condition. So it's just understanding that this person needs treatment for this condition. And that it's your duty to try to get them or help them, assist them into getting into treatment and entering this stage of recovery. Because ultimately, it's about making sure that they're okay. And what we find is that oftentimes when someone does enter this point in their life of recovery, that it really just emanates greatness into the household and family connection. So in the long run, entering treatment will ultimately help the family and I believe diminish some of these social pressures such as shame. And then with the hurt, sometimes it doesn't, it's not harmful if you want to seek treatment for yourself, just to talk about what you're going through. Because being a caregiver or a loved one or a caretaker of someone who may have a substance use issue, substance use disorder, it can be taxing at times, depending on the situation. So it's good to also make sure that you yourself are getting taken care of. There's this concept called caregiver burden. It's when you're caring for someone, but you yourself are emanating so much care, that you yourself are taken care of. So it's always good to make sure that you take self-care and also seek some type of mental health services for yourself, or crisis counseling, just to help you kind of navigate through these highly emotionally impactful situations.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Guys, that's all the questions I have. What you might want to do is just write your questions in the comments section on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you're watching this. If you have any questions, what we're going to be doing is we're going to take your questions, and the next Tuerk Talk, we're going to have answers for you as well, and things like that. But I believe a lot was shared, and Orrin, I want to thank you so much. I believe you did help a family member, a brother, a sister, who's trying to get help for their family member as well. And I always tell people that the family is also a part of their recovery process, and they have to also understand these things. So I think this talk has really helped. And before we go, I don't know, Orrin, if you want to just give one last encouragement to a family member that may need help or something, just let them know that it's going to be all right. Tough times do come.
Absolutely. There is help out there for you and your loved one and family member. So please use any resources available to try to find out what these helpful services are. And there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I know it's a cliche, but it's very true.
Thank you so much, Orrin. And again, if you or anybody you know needs help, please reach out to us. Go on our website at www.tuerkhouse.org. Find us on on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. It's Tuerk House. Reach out to us. We are here to help you. Thank you so much. And until next time, man, I can't wait to see your face here on Tuerk Talk. All right.